So this is exactly the response that I fear, that in a culture and heritage which had perhaps one of the greatest philosophers, philosophical traditions and scientific traditions, we are today in a stage where only the greatest imitation of the science which surely the West leads in are worthy of prizes either within India and outside India. In fact, the last, I don't even remember his name, but I'm sure he's worthy of remembering, because the last scientist who got the Nobel Prize was, he must be from Andhra, I forget his name, was really irritated when people said he's an Indian. Yeah. And he grew up in this. He said, look, what the hell are you talking about? Everything that I am today, I owe to my American university. Yeah. And please, don't bother with trying to say that, I'm from some little village in Andhra. So, imitation amongst the sciences where the mind is required is the most appreciated and awarded today. No alternative science person, you can see the fights on this thing. They're just called, they're next to black magic men.
Let me make a quick response. I think we are getting into many areas of discussion and it's leading us nowhere. I think Shakti's point was raised a valid point. But I think the terms used are a bit confusing. Imitation, adaptation, I think the line is not very clear. Actually, you have to imitate first before you can absorb, master, and then you can apply your imagination. What we are talking about today is creativity. Whether it is science or in the arts, everywhere, it is creativity. The question you're asking is, why have we stopped being creative? And somehow in our mind, there is a monster called globalization which is responsible. I would urge you to think, globalization is an economic phenomenon. It is not attacking your mind. It is creating an environment in which you are physically more comfortable and standards of living are rising and so on. But nobody says that because you are more affluent, you should not think independently. So far, scientists are not inventing new things. And if they find that in the United States there is a better environment for them, so be it. Why be so anxious about it? But let us find out how we can emphasize on creativity here. But the fact is, creativity can't be manufactured. You create the conditions for it. You can set up your national science laboratories. You can give fancy salaries and appoint scientists, but you may not get results. So we have to think of why we have reached a stage of barrenness in many areas. But at the same time, you can't ignore that creativity is taking place in a lot of fields. In the field of arts, there is tremendous creativity. In dance, in music, it's happening. Now, one more thought, madam. You raised the point. Now, why are we blaming the state for everything? Let me understand. There is an area called economics. There is an area called culture. And
all of them represent a state of mind and not of body. That's all I'm saying.
Sometimes we are, if we are interested in culture, we are against the state. I want to point out to you that culture has always depended on state patronage. If you didn't have prosperity in a particular kingdom, you didn't have the means by which culture could flourish. If the Cholas didn't have the right revenues, they couldn't have built those beautiful temples. You look at everywhere in India, all our great cultural icons are products of certain affluent societies where the state invested in culture. Without the state, the classical dances, as Jawahar said, dance and music could have happened today had it not been for the support it got from the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting under Dr. B.V. Keskar through All India Radio. We've forgotten how much we owe to that period of time where the cultural regeneration of India took place after independence. So let's not create this antagonism between state and culture. I think we have to work together. Sorry.
One last question from me.
I think you're bothered about Sarkar,
No,
na?
I would like Amrit to respond.
No, I think this whole issue.
I work a lot with the youth.
No, the issue. Why don't you ask a question, then we could come in.
I work a lot with the youth. So globalization, from my understanding from these eminent speakers here today, is nothing new. It's been happening for centuries. And we have assimilated a lot from various cultures and civilizations, and in turn we've given a lot as well. And it's not something that's going to stop. It's not a bogey to be afraid of. And as Indians, we have our soft skills and culture. Amazing amount of, because of, it being such a diverse country, so many diverse cultures, so many dances, etc. There's just no end to it, what we can exchange. And in the future, that is something to look forward to. So an exchange can keep happening, but India can still retain its uniqueness. We can still carry on passing it to the future generations. My question to you is, since I work a lot with the youth, and we're doing a lot of performing arts, and we kind of amalgamate the Western and the Indian, we try to keep passing on. I just want advice on how you can advise us to carry it on in a better way.
See, this is the voice I mentioned to you. You got it. Everything is okay. But, that is also, I think we have to somewhere decide that everything is not okay also. That's all I'm saying. It's not cynicism, it's actually a great hope which makes you say that. Otherwise we keep quiet. This dialogue that she started is because we have a lot of hope that there's somewhere things are not okay. And that's what the practitioners of the arts have mentioned. She's a teacher, Shakti is a painter, Siddharth is a filmmaker. They have mentioned the issue of imitation and copy, and they feel it. None of us here are practitioners, if I may say so, on the panel, I mean. So sometimes as administrators and teachers, we should listen to the voice of the practitioner more, even though we have to make sense of it and bring the mind into the world of practice. We have to listen to them because every area has its area of practice. And I think there is a problem somewhere. What it is needs to be identified, as you say, in future dialogues. Thank you very much.
Just one thing, how are we supposed to handle जो अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं? How are we going to?
We will have to come back to अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं on another occasion.
I would just like to thank our country itself, as was referred by Punjab as agriculture. So thanks to globalization, where it was okay if I listened to Michael Jackson or Madonna, but if I put up my interest as a Punjabi, as a Sadhani in Carnatic music or Mridangam or Bharatanatyam, I was questioned, how come? How come? I mean, what will you understand in that? How would you do that? So I would say globalization is like opening up the mind, the horizon, and accepting the unknown. I think the question of imitating, and it is more coming from rigidity and fear for the unknown. And I would really like to thank Lalit ji for saying that globalization is about really widening the horizon. And thank you, Abhijit.
Can I be allowed a question?
Representative of Punjab has to be here.
I just wanted to make two quick observations, and that can be a question also. We've been talking, I've been listening very intently, not patiently, but intently, is that we're talking either or. Nothing is either or here. The room you're sitting today has a lot of Western things. Right? If we can use them, I think she was absolutely right when she said that we need to use them wisely. Important is to use that differentiation. What is good for us and what is not good. And that's an individual choice. Culture is always, I would say, sold, I'll let it this way, or by people in power. गरीब आदमी कभी culture की बात नहीं करता, उसके लिए तो culture दो रोटी होती है. Let's get the fundas clear. The second aspect is when we talk about, I was talking about the science. We have 5,000 or more than 5,600 if I remember correctly, application in the National Innovation Council of India, where people from small towns have come out with incredible innovations and we are sleeping over it. What can we talk about creativity when a guy at, let's say, in a village in Rajasthan makes a refrigerator at 300 rupees and is not rewarded?
Yeah.
It's not that what we are saying is not happening, it's happening, but we are choking the system. Our processes are not looking at inculcating those values to redefine and let the person soar like an eagle. It's very easy to say culture ki problem hai. I think the problem with us is I remember a movie, Ek Doctor Ki Maut. I think some of you must have seen that, in which a guy from Calcutta, a scientist, he actually had to shelf off a project in which he would have got a Nobel Prize. I think the only globalization, I am sorry, in India we have is eating the Western food, wearing the apples, and talking in an accent, and looking at the AXN movies.
I agree.
Right? What we need is an age of Ferrari, and most of us, including me, drive the mental bullock cart. Thank you.
And Jugaad.
Thank you all for a very vibrant question and answer session. I just wanted to make a couple of one request: kindly leave your names and numbers in the visitors book so that we stay in touch and are able to invite you to our next events. The next event that we are having is on June 12th, which is the screening of a film Wo Subah Kidhar Nikal Gayi by Tripurari Saran. You're all invited, and entry is free. Please bring friends along if you wish to. And I would like to thank all of you for being here. 12th of June. 12th of June. Thank you, Dr. Srinivasan. Thank you, Shantaji. Thank you, Ambassador Mansingh. Thank you, Mr. Johan Sarkar. You've made this evening very lively and educative. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.